In this video I'm going to demonstrate a simple edit to give this lady a slightly more smooth, flattering curve of her hip around there. It's a little bit wrinkled at the moment. This technique will involve Liquify as well as some cloning and dodge and burn. Those three are often used in conjunction for this kind of thing. Below this video you'll find some links to other videos and articles of relevance. In particular, there'll be a link to my first Liquify video, which really showed a lot of basics about Liquify. If you're new to it, I suggest you pause this video here and go and watch that one first. Okay, so with any liquefying, the first step is to duplicate the background layer. This image is straight out of RAW. It's had its RAW processing done, but no Photoshop work yet. Liquify is always done pretty early in the workflow. So I'll duplicate that layer, and I could now just go straight to Liquify, but it's better, it's a good habit if you can, to use your rectangle marquee tool and select a more relevant area of the image and then run Liquify just on that. It just frees up your computer power a bit. It means that it's not using RAM to try and run Liquify on the whole image. Alright, so here I am, and I'm going to be varying my brush sizes a bit as I go, and I'm trying to just smooth out this curve here. Just down here. I want it to be nice and rounded, and like I say, flattering. So that'll need to come in there a bit. Now I'm doing this video in Photoshop. Everything I'm doing here will apply just the same to elements. If you have elements, you'll know that its Liquify doesn't have this handy show backdrop button, which is essentially a preview or review button. If you've watched my other video, you'll know about the workaround for this. Anyway, I'm checking this in Photoshop, having a look at how I'm smoothing things here. I might just zoom in a bit and smooth that. Whoops, wrong way. And it doesn't need to be a perfect smooth arc, of course. I just want it to look fairly flattering for this lady, and a bit in there, a bit, maybe a little bit there as well. Now I'll just have another look at that. Okay, so I hope you can see what I've aimed for here, just a smoother, nicer curve of the hip there. When you're doing Liquify, it's really important to get it exactly right before you press OK. So take the time, check everything you've done. In particular, check the collateral damage, as it were. Anything in the background. Now I'm lucky here. This background is just really out of focus foliage, so it doesn't matter that I've shifted it around. But I'm sure you've all seen those photos where celebrities or whoever have been busted liquefying their own photos because they've left a really curly doorway or wall or something behind them. So make sure you don't fall into that trap. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to go OK. I'll just Control D to get rid of those marching ants. Now I can turn the layer off and on and see the same before and after as we were just looking at. Okay. Now there's two more areas I want to work on here. One is this area of shadow here, which is still a bit unflattering, isn't it? It still gives an indication of kind of some lumpiness. Perhaps it's a panty line or something under there. And then this big wrinkle here, that's a bit too strong for my taste. So because this one is really strong, it will be a clone job, I think. This one up here will be fine for dodge and burn. It's just a bit of shadowing. But this one really needs the seam rebuilt and everything. So I'm going to do that one first. I'll add a new blank layer there. Choose my clone tool, and I'm going to work at low opacity. I've set that to 10% there. I just press the keyboard shortcut to lower that. And now I'm going to gently work on this, just subtly painting away there with my low opacity clone tool. I'm going to vary my source point a bit so as not to get any obvious repetition. That's always the enemy of good cloning, isn't it? You don't want people to be able to see that you've been cloning because they go, well, why is there two identical something or others in that photo? That's not cool. Alright, now how about on this side? So I'm just turning that clone layer off and on. Okay, that's not too bad. I might just try and just get rid of this a little bit more. Okay, that's not bad. That sort of is fading out there naturally. I think I'm quite happy with that. Alright, now I'll come up to this one. Sorry, it's probably not a bad idea to name these layers for, to avoid confusion later on. Now this one is going to be my dodge and burn layer, so I'll add a blank layer, put it on soft light mode, and name that 2. Alright, and dodge and burn, I'm going to work with a really low opacity brush. No, not 30, I mean 3% opacity. And then I'm just going to start painting here very gently. Now, the thing about working with such a low opacity brush is that it's subtle. It makes for the smoothest, nicest edits, but it also means it's hard to see what you're doing while you're doing it. So that's why turning the layer off and on is so important. I'm going to burn this bit a bit through there. In fact, I might darken all that up there a bit, and there too. And go back to dodging like that. I think I messed this up. I know that once this video is saved and compressed for upload, the quality might be a bit poor and you might not be able to even entirely see the little bits and pieces that I'm looking at here, but I hope you get the idea all the same. So let me just check that. Alright, now again, I've darkened the background a bit, but who's going to know? I think it'll be okay. Alright, so now let's have a look at just the dodge and burn and clone that I'd done. I might just work my way into here a bit more with the dodging, like so. Okay, that's pretty subtle. It's probably okay. I might also just go a little bit down here on the cloned area. And so that's that. Now I can have a look at the whole thing, including the Liquify. And I think that that's pretty flattering. I'll just get rid of that lump there. I think that gives quite a nice look to the curve of her hip there. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and please post and ask Damien if you have any questions about it. See you next time.